Hello everyone, welcome to the Fireside Chat at the Future Ready Application Summit. My name is Abhishek Avadia and I'm a Senior Director with Microsoft India looking at the digital natives business. Today with us we have Prakash, who is an AVP of Engineering at GeoHealth. He looks after integration, data and analytics. He comes in with more than 2 decades of experience in technology and he has spent the last decade working on data and analytics. So Prakash, welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Abhishek, giving this opportunity to share my experience with the audiences.
So Prakash, let me kickstart the discussion with something which is top of mind for us, which is all the digital natives today have a thriving app ecosystem and software scale, and they're building software by leveraging the power of cloud. Cloud native capabilities today are considered indispensable to meet the needs of the agility of the business and also to stay relevant with the customer needs, which are constantly changing. Please help us and help us understand the basics of how our cloud native and microservices based architectures are helping with acceleration of value realization as you're building products and serving new and new customer segments.
Yeah, absolutely. Cloud native capabilities like DevOps integrated systems with container based capabilities, right, which actually drives your micro services based architecture, right. It brings a lot of capabilities to the software ecosystem, wherein the teams can deploy features independently. They can scale features as the business demand goes up, right. And also, the CI/CD capabilities also integrated, thereby reducing your deployment time. So definitely, cloud native building application on cloud native is accelerating growth, both for business and providing features to customers efficiently and in a faster way.
Thank you. You make a very important point, Prakash, which is time to market. And in today's world, that is speed and agility is paramount, especially given the intensity of competition in various, almost every other space which we're facing, and also the speed with which customer needs are changing. So talk to us more about how are microservices helping you build agility into building newer applications.
Right. So, microservices-based architecture, we containerize entire applications into, smaller bits. Like, you can have a separate features bundled in, and which can be deployed, which can be managed independently, right? Scaled up independently. So, one thing is like with this, you give capability to the team to go independent, right? You can have independent releases, right. That's one. Number two is with your infra as code capabilities available with these, like for example Azure, you have auto scaling capabilities, you have infra as code capabilities, wherein um, uh, the resources can be provisioned on the fly during deployment, right. Number one. Number two, there are auto scaling capabilities available within like services like AKS, right, which helps us one manage cost and also scale up when the business demand goes back. Yeah, so it's totally different from earlier, where you need to work with your infra team to provision your infra, whatever you need for your application to work, then deploy. Right now, it goes hand in hand with cloud native technologies.
Got it. Well, thank you very much. You touched upon developer DevOps and developer velocity, and I want to build on that. See, developer velocity is key to achieving innovation at scale. Developers are the platform, the engines of our development in any product company. Now, when developers are empowered with the right set of tools and platforms to move from idea to code to cloud seamlessly, what are some of the best practices that help you improve your developer productivity?
Yeah, so we use Azure a lot, right? For example, entire ecosystem is on Azure. Like for example, we use Azure DevOps for our plan, right? Azure board helps us plan our features to be developed, right? And Azure pipeline, we use Azure pipeline to deploy what we build. So it's basically plan, develop, deploy, and operate. Everything is entirely on one platform, right? And it has capabilities to integrate multiple technologies. So simply put, like, you have one integrated tool which will take care of your plan, develop, deploy, and operate, right? So in terms of deploying Azure pipelines with auto provisioning capabilities, helps us deploy resources, not just code. Even provisioning resources is done through Azure pipelines. And operate, right? You have capabilities which are embedded within your code, like Azure monitoring capabilities, where not just deploying the applications. Once the application is deployed, you can use Azure monitoring capabilities to monitor and ensure your app performs well with the business demand that goes in. So that's the power you bring it to the developer community.
Thank you. And just to build on that, Prakash, one thing I've also seen is having the right CI/CD practices right from the initial stages of product development helps build a scalable, reliable, and a secure product. So to me, those best practices go a long way in setting up the product, the application for success in the future. So thank you so much for touching upon that. Now building on developers again, developer flexibility and productivity can't come at the expense of security and compliance, especially given the times we are in, where cybersecurity is a top priority, and the number of touch points which are there in enterprise with customers are exponentially increasing. What are your thoughts as a leading digital native when it comes to secure development, specifically the adoption of DevSecOps?
So we have a robust process, which embedded the security, info security, data security, code security within the development process. That's basically your DevSecOps, right? In legacy, usually these are like bolted in, right? This is like this is like basically when you develop, right? You take care of the security, right? For example, let's say we are in health domain, so data security, managing PI is very very critical. So what we do is like we have a robust system to identify PI data that comes into the system, wherein we ensure that PI data is encrypted, anonymized, wherever it used, it's anonymized, wherever it's stored, like data at rest, on transit and process, it's all encrypted. And for these, we already have systems in place, like the architectures in place, which takes care as and when we develop systems and go forward. And the moment when we go to deploy, the infosec is mere becomes a compliance process for us, where they just do validation to see like everything is fine. That is making us easier for us to market our products, right? Deliver our products and take it to market much faster. Um, in in legacy, what we used to do is like once we develop, then it goes to the infosec process. Then you go through the findings, and you resolve or take care of the findings provided by the infosec team. But now with these processes built in, right, within the development process itself, it's easy, like it just becomes what you call a custom, right? When we release, I would say, like we have frameworks built on Azure platform, which actually takes care of managing the PI data. That's one of the key findings that we used to do. Then the second thing is your architecture, right? Today, all our web traffic goes through a gateway, right? Which is monitored continuously through your Azure Sentinel service. So it's like once the architecture is set, design is set, the practice is set, then the developer just have to follow the process, so that the application is compliant, and the process is just a compliance.
Got it. No, very helpful, Prakash. Especially this is a topic which is constantly evolving. Um, DevOps and integrating security into DevOps is something which I would, a practitioner's point of view coming in from you is very helpful, and I'm sure a lot of people from our audience can relate to that and can take very practical tips to incorporating that as they build products. Now, let me come to the next topic, which is around challenge of optimization. Often with the challenge of scale, leaders need to consider optimization as well. How do you achieve the balance between efficiency, scale, and optimization?
Yeah, this is very, very important, right? I think one of the complexities or challenges that we figured it out is like with cloud, it's easy to provision infra, thereby the cost can get accelerated without your notice, right? And this is very, very important to put checks in place in your system so that the cost doesn't escalate. So that we have our DevOps team have set like for example policies, so that we monitor the cost and manage. Number one. Number two, the technologies that we use, for example, serverless technologies like Azure Functions, right? It only like we only pay for what we use, right? Rather than deploying a dedicated server. That's one of the capability. For example, like you can go for serverless capabilities. You can look at managing the price tiers when you deploy and for a business case. And as you see business demand increases with cloud native, the capability that you have is you can always scale up, right? One is building for cloud native. It means like you try to leverage the power of cloud, right? Look at PaaS services that you can leverage. Second, auto scaling capabilities. And third one is like there are services that cannot auto scale, but there are always capabilities on infra where you can scale manually, right? So what we do is like we leverage all these capabilities to keep our cost optimized, and also ensure that we provide the performance and experience to the business users. And also like I was talking about Azure monitoring capabilities, and there are very good capabilities that are available. For example, like you might deploy like multiple VMs, right? And these Azure monitor capabilities can help you identify the availability or capacity utilization for these services, and your team can go and switch off or retire these services which are not used, thereby bringing the cost down.
Great. So thank you, Prakash. You brought in a lot of interesting perspectives, especially leveraging PaaS to optimize and manage costs, because PaaS fundamentally gives you the flexibility to focus on applications and not worry about the underlying infrastructure. You leverage the auto scale up, auto scale down capabilities as well. So thank you so much. I think with that, you have touched upon some very important topics today, ranging from cloud native architecture, microservices, the power of unlocking developer velocity by using cloud scale analytics and leveraging cloud tools for DevOps. You touched upon security, which is the underlying thread which is even more important in today's times, with importance of handling the customer data carefully, with lots of regulations coming into place to ensure that the customer data is used in the right way. And finally, the optimization, which is a very, very important thing as you're building and scaling businesses on cloud. Very important to keep costs under check at all points of time, and you touched upon leveraging PaaS to enable you to do that. So thank you so much for sharing all of your thoughts.
Thanks Abhishek for giving me this opportunity.